To truly understand Turkey, we must begin with its map. A nation's story is often etched into its very landscape, and Turkey is no exception. It's a bridge, a vital landmass connecting Europe to the west and Asia to the east, a geographical position of immense significance. This is not just a line on a map, it's a physical reality, a tangible presence that has profoundly shaped the course of history, influencing civilizations and empires for millennia. The Bosphorus and Dardanelles, those narrow strategic waterways, are the gates, the crucial passages between the Black Sea and the Mediterranean. Control these straits, and you effectively control access for entire regions, dictating the flow of commerce and military power. Turkey's geography is a complex tapestry, both a blessing, offering unparalleled strategic advantages, and a curse, making it a constant target. It's made the land a prize, a coveted territory fought over by empires seeking to dominate the region. It's been a crossroads, a vibrant hub for trade, a melting pot of culture, and unfortunately, a frequent arena for conflict. To the north, the vast expanse of the Black Sea stretches out. To the south, the sun-kissed shores of the Mediterranean beckon. To the east, the towering Caucasus Mountains form a formidable barrier. And to the west, the shimmering waters of the Aegean Sea meet the Turkish coast. Armies have marched relentlessly across its plains, their footsteps echoing through the ages. Navies have battled fiercely in its straits, vying for control of these vital waterways, and ideas, both revolutionary and traditional, have flowed freely through its bustling cities, shaping its unique character. From the ancient Hittites to the mighty Ottomans and finally to the modern Republic, each era has left its indelible mark. Everyone throughout history has recognized the immense strategic value of Anatolia, the heartland of modern Turkey. Is Turkey fundamentally European or is it primarily Asian? The answer, perhaps surprisingly, is both, and in its unique blend of East and West, it is definitively uniquely Turkish. Istanbul, that magnificent metropolis, the only city on Earth straddling two continents, is a daily living metaphor for this inherent duality, this constant interplay of cultures. Turkey often looks west towards Europe, seeking economic models, forging alliances, and embracing certain cultural trends. Yet, at the same time, it remains deeply rooted in the rich tapestry of Middle Eastern and Central Asian history, traditions, and values. This constant pull, this enduring tension between different spheres of influence, profoundly defines its foreign policy, shapes its vibrant culture, and ultimately forges its complex national identity. For Europe, Turkey represents the ultimate neighbor, the indispensable gatehouse guarding the path to the east. When Turkey enjoys stability and prosperity, Europe, in turn, experiences a greater sense of security and well-being. But when instability grips Turkey, the tremors of that unrest inevitably reach the capitals of Europe, Berlin, Paris, and London. For centuries, European powers have been compelled to engage with whoever held control over this crucial land, sometimes as a rival to be contained, at other times as a valuable partner, and often as a strategic buffer against external threats. Today, in our interconnected world, this fundamental reality is perhaps more potent and relevant than ever before. Europe simply cannot afford to chart its future course without carefully considering the role and influence of Turkey. Geography in this context is utterly inescapable, a permanent and undeniable factor that must be integrated into all of Europe's strategic calculations and long-term planning. Turkey's unique geographical position, at the crossroads of continents, ensures that it will always matter on the global stage. Its land, with its diverse terrain and natural barriers, is a natural fortress, a vital crossroads connecting East and West, and a crucial pivot point in the unfolding drama of human history. The fundamental question is not whether Turkey is important, that much is self-evident. The real question is how Turkey will choose to leverage its unique geography and strategic advantages in the years and decades ahead. The answer to that question will undoubtedly shape the fate of both Turkey and the wider European continent. In this land where history and geography intertwine so intimately, geography in many ways truly is destiny. History is palpable, almost a living presence everywhere in Turkey. The echoes of empires resonate through the ages, from the ancient wonders of Ephesus, a testament to Hellenistic and Roman power, to the formidable walls of Constantinople, a city that stood as a bulwark between East and West for over 1,000 years. This land, bridging Europe and Asia, was the very heart of the Byzantine Empire, a civilization of immense wealth, power, and cultural influence. Then came the rise of the mighty Ottoman Empire, a force that would reshape the region and leave an indelible mark on the world. The Ottomans, at their zenith, ruled from the gates of Vienna, striking fear into the heart of Europe. Their reach extended to the Persian Gulf for 6 centuries, a vast domain built on military might, strategic alliances, and shrewd governance. They were a global power, shaping the destinies of 3 continents. But the empire's long decline culminated in its fall after World War I, shattering the old order and redrawing the map of the Middle East. From its ruins, a new leader emerged, Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, who forged a new nation from the ashes of the old. Ataturk's vision was revolutionary, a secular, modern republic, inspired by the West and dedicated to progress. He set about looking west, deliberately breaking from the Ottoman Islamic past and embracing a new identity. He replaced the Arabic script with a Latin-based alphabet, a symbolic and practical step towards modernization. He empowered women, granting them rights and opportunities previously denied, and he firmly separated religion from state, establishing a secular framework for the new republic. His sweeping reforms set Turkey on a new path, transforming its society, its culture, and its place in the world. It was a path toward Europe, toward democracy, and toward a new, assertive Turkish nationalism. But the Ottoman legacy, despite Ataturk's efforts, still lingers in the collective memory. It fuels ambitions for regional influence, and a yearning for a sense of lost greatness. This inherent tension between a secular Western-oriented republic forged in the 20th century and the powerful pull of an imperial Islamic past shapes the nation's character. It is this duality that ultimately defines modern Turkey. It explains the nation's complex and often contradictory politics, and its sometimes unpredictable actions on the world stage. Ataturk's gamble, his bold bet, was to align Turkey firmly with Europe, to embrace Western values and institutions. But the powerful memory of empire, of Ottoman glory, still profoundly shapes Turkey's ambitions and its sense of self. The result is a country constantly pulled between past and future, tradition and modernity. A nation straddling east and west both geographically and culturally. Turkey's identity, therefore, is not fixed, but a constant negotiation, a dynamic interplay of competing forces. Its choices, both domestic and international, echo through its complex politics and its often enigmatic foreign policy. The past in Turkey is never truly past, it is a living, breathing presence that informs the present. Therefore, understanding Turkey, its people, and its place in the world, means understanding this ongoing drama, this constant negotiation between competing identities. History is not just a collection of dates and events. It is the essential context for every decision, every policy, and every action that Turkey takes. The Cold War dramatically reshaped global geopolitics, and Turkey's geography became more vital than ever before. Its location held immense strategic significance. Sharing a long and sensitive border with the Soviet Union, Turkey became NATO's crucial southeastern sentinel in 1952, solidifying its role in the Western defense strategy. This marked a pivotal moment in the country's history. It hosted key strategic military bases, maintained a massive and well-equipped army, and vigilantly guarded the alliance's vulnerable southern flank, acting as a primary deterrent. For decades, Turkey stood as a steadfast bulwark against Soviet expansion and influence in the region. The end of the Cold War, while ushering in a new era, didn't diminish Turkey's strategic importance. New crises and conflicts in the Balkans and the volatile Middle East kept Turkey central to NATO's evolving strategy. Turkey gradually evolved from a static defender focused on containment to a more active participant in regional security, actively supporting peacekeeping and stabilization operations from the war-torn Balkans all the way to distant Afghanistan. Today, Turkey boasts NATO's second-largest military force, a significant asset for the alliance, but its foreign policy has become noticeably more independent and assertive on the global stage. Its controversial purchase of advanced Russian S-400 air defense systems and its military interventions in conflict zones like Syria and Libya have strained relations and tested alliances within NATO. Yet, despite these challenges, Turkey remains an indispensable member of the alliance. Its crucial geography, its significant military capabilities, and its valuable intelligence-gathering resources are vital to NATO's overall security posture. Effectively managing this complex and evolving relationship is undoubtedly one of NATO's greatest and most pressing challenges. Turkey is simultaneously a crucial partner and a perplexing puzzle for the alliance. Its strategic decisions and actions can significantly shape the security and stability of the entire alliance. For NATO, Turkey is simply too strategically important to lose as an ally. And yet, it's also too complex and independent-minded to be fully controlled or easily influenced. Therefore, the alliance must proactively adapt its strategies and approaches to this evolving reality. Turkey's quest to join the EU has been a long, frustrating journey. It applied in 1959. Formal talks began in 2005, sparking major reforms. Hopes were high, but obstacles soon emerged. Turkey's size, economy, and the Cyprus dispute. Concerns over democracy and human rights stalled progress. Cultural questions linger. Can a large Muslim-majority nation join a historically Christian club? The debate forces Europe to confront its own identity. Today, full membership seems distant. Negotiations are frozen. Yet the EU is Turkey's biggest trading partner, and cooperation on migration and security is essential. The relationship is now transactional, a strategic partnership, not a union. Turkey remains forever on Europe's doorstep, shaping the continent's future from the outside. The EU cannot ignore Turkey, nor fully embrace it. The question of membership remains unresolved and defining. Turkey's geography makes it an energy crossroads. It sits between Europe's consumers and the oil and gas producers of Russia, the Caspian, and the Middle East. Turkey lacks major energy resources but controls vital pipelines. Projects like the BTC and TANAP pipelines bring Caspian energy to Europe, reducing reliance on Russia. Turkey also hosts Russian pipelines, balancing between Moscow and Brussels. This dual role gives Ankara leverage over both sides. As Europe transitions to renewables, Turkey's role will evolve. But for now, it remains a key energy hub. New gas finds in the eastern Mediterranean add competition and complexity. For Europe, stability in Turkey is essential for energy security. In 2015, over 1 million refugees crossed into Europe, most through Turkey. The crisis exposed Europe's dependence on Turkey as a gatekeeper. The 2016 EU-Turkey deal curbed migration in exchange for aid and political concessions. This gave Ankara leverage, threatening to open the gates if demands aren't met. Turkey hosts nearly 4 million refugees, the world's largest such population. The burden strains Turkish society and politics, fueling tensions. Europe's asylum system remains fragile, and its security depends on Turkey's stability. If conditions worsen, a new migration wave is always possible. Turkey is both a gatekeeper and a massive reception center. Its choices directly affect Europe's borders and conscience. Migration is now a permanent feature of the relationship. Turkish foreign policy is a masterclass in balancing acts. Anchored in NATO, Turkey also partners with Russia, China, and Middle Eastern powers. It buys Russian weapons, cooperates and competes with Moscow in Syria and Libya, and deepens ties with China. Turkey presents itself as a leader for Turkic and Muslim nations and expands influence in Africa. This multi-vector approach maximizes autonomy and leverage. For Europe, Turkey is both a mediator and a wildcard. It can broker deals, but also undermine Western unity. Ankara's independent streak makes it unpredictable. Europe must adapt to a Turkey that charts its own course. The era of Turkey as a junior partner is over. Turkey's economy was once a regional success story. Fast growth, rising middle class, and global reach. Recently, high inflation, currency crises, and unorthodox policies have eroded confidence. Economic hardship fuels political discontent and limits foreign policy ambitions. The EU is Turkey's largest trading partner. Economic turmoil in Turkey would ripple across Europe. Managing millions of refugees adds to the strain. Europe has a stake in Turkey's stability. Not out of charity, but necessity. A prosperous Turkey benefits both sides. The future depends on economic reform and renewed investor trust. For Europe, supporting Turkey's stability is a strategic imperative. Economic health is the foundation of partnership. Will Turkey be a bridge or a barrier for Europe? The answer is both. Geography ensures Turkey will always matter to Europe. The relationship's nature depends on choices in Ankara and European capitals. A stable, democratic Turkey could anchor Europe's southeast and act as a bridge to the east. A more assertive, independent Turkey means constant negotiation and managed friction. A decisive turn away from the West would be a strategic earthquake for Europe. Turkey's future path, economic, political, and diplomatic, will shape the continent's fate. Europe must adapt to whatever Turkey becomes. The only certainty, Turkey's choices will have consequences far beyond its borders. The story of Turkey and Europe is far from over.